Welcome, Low Ego Action Heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full-service CX and UX consultancy. Did you know that? I bet you did. You can find us at deltacx.com, and welcome to the Friday reaction stream, where I'm going to take a look at things that you sent in. Yes, you. And we're going to see what we think of them, and maybe we'll rate them out of 5 dogs. Which dog are you? This is Olivia. And Olivia is the mom of Diana, the low ego action hero. So you're going to go back to sleep now? You're burping on air, thanks. Beautiful. That was my dog burping, everybody. All right. How's everybody doing? It's Friday, and that means reaction streams. So let's take a look at the things that you've all been sending in during the week. And I'll just check if I'm missing anything. Okay, hello S, hello Aitan, hello Elena, hello Udipta, hello everybody. Yeah, that was Olivia, the famous Olivia. Right, Olivia? Good job. Okay, you've been sending stuff in, and before we get to that, of course, as always, thanks to everybody who is financially supporting the channel, even though it is completely optional. It is always appreciated. This week I've been enjoying some delicious cheese and some delicious chocolate chips, courtesy of you. In fact, I just got my first payment of the year from Google, $152. Thank you to everybody who donates to the YouTube channel. I've made $152 so far. It's me, Charlene. Something went wrong with my name. Okay, you're very mysterious. The mysterious S person. All right, let's bring up what we've got for you today. We've got 5 or 6 things. 1, 2, 3, I think maybe 6. Let's take a look. Let's press the button. And that should be okay. So we've got me, the optional tip jar, the chat room, and a private browser. And the first thing that came in was a Medium article from someone whose name I don't recognize, so I don't think this is someone I know. Anna Demina, I don't know. Of course, it immediately wins the Clickbait Award for naming the article, "I don't need a UX researcher, designers can do research." Now, of course, we immediately would think from that is her stance, that is her position, and she's going to prove that to you. Aitan says, oh no, one of those articles again. Well, y'all keep sending them to me. I don't know why. And, but it turns out it's really what someone else said to her, and then she kind of, tells you no. So basically she says, if you think designers can do research, then you've undone the research role, and research isn't design, but the two are related. And she ends it with, can designers speak with your users? Yes. Though, again, I'm not sure if I would want that to happen. That's my personal take. Can they analyze how people interact with the product? Okay. Can designers ask the questions in a correct way and acknowledge what type of questions they're asking? Not necessary, I guess, because we have researchers. Should designers constantly analyze users' feedback? It's not their responsibility. Elena says, this article created a firestorm on my page. Yeah, we've had questions like this before. Can designers research? Can researchers design? And my answer always is the same thing. So write it in the chat if you've heard me say it before. And my answer is, only if you're good at it. I think that research and design are 2 very distinct and separate specialties. But if you happen to do both well, maybe you can do both at your job if you have enough time to do both well, thoroughly, not skimped on, not half-assed, not thinking that research is, I'm just going to go talk to a few people without all of the other things that are involved. So my thought is, if somebody's good at something, I want to play to their strengths. If somebody's not good at something, then I either don't want them to do it, or we might have to train them. And can we train them? Is it trainable? So there you go. Elena's clapping. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's move to the next one that was sent in. And this is a very famous viral website. So if you haven't seen this before, this has been out there forever. And basically, this is a current website. Then this is not a joke. Evidently, this is a car leasing company. And evidently, this person does very well and is very successful. I would think that they're doing very well and they're very successful because I guess maybe they have a sense of fun. Maybe this has gone viral. Obviously, when it goes viral, everybody's looking at it. Now you're thinking, gee, I did want to lease a car. I am in the UK. Might as well talk to this person. They seem like they've got a lot of personality. I10 says, is this Barbie.com? No, it's lingscars.com. So I think that it's great that it's got this really retro look. I think it's a fun look back at what websites really did look like in the 90s. And I think ultimately I've heard that this site is, of course, viral. And of course, it's wacky, it's animated, pixelated GIF files. So yeah, so is this good UX? No. Is this making this person business and money because we're all talking about it and bringing attention to it? Sure. So, there's a lot about that that's true with Amazon as well. Many of us use Amazon for the selection, for the fast shipping, for the lower prices in some cases. We don't use it because it's an amazing website. To me, it's one of the most annoying websites I use. So I think that what this person is doing is niche. I wouldn't suggest that people copy this website, but you can see how this works when it's viral and people want to send this to each other. And now everybody knows about this person. So it is its own marketing department. And in that sense, it could be achieving sales and marketing results. Ray says, I hate Amazon's new pricing feature updates. So hard to read the actual prices now. And that. All right. The next one was going to be next, but I think we're going to save it till the end because it's your buddy, Jared Spool. So next, let's talk about this tweet from Zeldman. And I know Pier Mario is a big fan of Zeldman. So Zeldman tweeted, this is 2008. So I don't know how somebody sent this to me just now. Attention, this is 2008. But it's not that he's wrong. He says content precedes design. Design in the absence of content is not design, it's decoration. So again, I think there's a lot of truth to what he says, and especially even when you see me pull up, and I know it's hard to see right now, the graphic of what the user-centered design process looks like. Content comes before information architecture and design. It's much harder to do information architecture when you don't know the content. It's much harder to do interaction design or visual design when you don't have the content, or you only have placeholder content or not the right content. So I think I can mostly agree with him there. I'm not sure I would want to put people down by saying if you're designing without content or with placeholder content, you're just decoration. That sounds like we're talking visual design. Sometimes when we're doing our interaction design, we don't have finalized things. We have to use lorem ipsum and other things. I think that can still be okay. But yes, ultimately, we are supposed to be doing information architecture and interaction design based on content. So I can't say he's totally wrong, but wow, that's an old tweet. Who just found that? All right. Someone sent me this NNG article on cognitive walkthroughs. And it's a new article. So it says, a cognitive walkthrough is used to evaluate the learnability of a system from the perspective of a new user. So remember, it's perspective. As the next sentence says, unlike user testing, it does not involve users. So the idea is that you're going to grab a bunch of people and you are going to pretend you're the new user. As you can imagine, this has pros and cons. If you have people who can really put themselves in that mindset and try to walk through something with very fresh eyes, then okay. But if people are not going to be able to see this from the perspective of the new user, then that undoes a lot of what this is supposed to be. And you're supposed to be looking at, will users try to achieve the right result? That's a strange question to me. It says, do users understand that the action at hand is needed to reach their larger goal? So I guess kind of, do they know how to complete their task? Will users notice the correct action is available? Will users associate the correct action with the result they're trying to achieve? After the action is performed, will users see that progress is made toward the goal? So I have to say I'm not totally on board with this because I am very worried about putting just anybody into this workshop, hoping they have the perspective of the new user and saying, oh yeah, people will definitely notice this button. And I mean, how many times have we thought people would notice a button and then they didn't? How many times did we think people would notice a message and then they didn't? So I think that there's some danger to this if you get some people who are biased or not very good at seeing things through the new user's eyes perspective. I typically don't do these. I know some people who do, but I would have to say this would not be a preferred method for me. I do include some of this type of stuff in my audits. So in my audit, I'm trying to see like, okay, do I think people can figure out where to go and what to do? But I wouldn't necessarily do what this says, which is run it as a workshop, get lots of evaluators, etc. So I would say absorb the parts you like into your audit and the rest of it, not so sure. Okay. Number 5, we're just flying through these today. We're going to be done before you know it. Oh, except the last one's Spool. So that's going to be a long story and you know it. Okay, so I have found that in general, the D-Scout blog is kind of 0 dogs out of 5. So I'm not surprised that I've been sent, I think this is the 3rd or 4th article from them because I get the feeling they don't have a lot of high standards for content. And I don't know necessarily who's, Nikki Anderson. I think she is, I think we've seen her on the show before because she offers a course and people were asking what I thought of it and I can't tell. So let's talk about how do you build a rapport with participants. I happen to have very strong feelings on this particular topic, and my feelings or styles tend to run against what most UX researchers teach. So warning, this may be different than what you normally hear from other people. So this person first started out talking about how like they kind of didn't know whether to smile or nod or frown or what tone to use or whatever. That comes with time and coaching. And then the question is, how friendly should you be with participants? And meet their energy or go one step above. You definitely don't want to look low energy. Build a bond or relatable moment. So let's talk about this in more detail. It says, when I started, I used to jump right into research questions. What do you do? How do you feel about traveling? I didn't warm up with any participants. By leaving this crucial part of the interview behind, my sessions were good but never great. One of my mentors urged me to use the first 5 to 7 minutes of a session to talk to the participant. I tried it once and never looked back. A warm-up does 3 wonderful things: builds rapport, gets the participant used to a conversational interview and open-ended questions, make the participant feel more comfortable with you. When I warm up with participants, I try to find a relatable moment or small bonding point. What's something that brings us together? I ask questions like, what do you do with your free time? What are some hobbies you like? What's something you've watched, read, or seen interesting that was interesting? When they respond, I don't just say, okay. I engage in a short conversation. They mentioned knitting, Pokemon, tattoos, whatever. So those of you in the chat, tell me about what your approaches are to this rapport building. Some say ice breaking. I'm going to tell you that I am the weird person who does not do this. I don't do this because I have #empathy. And I'm always afraid that I'm going to ask someone a question that has an answer that they are not comfortable talking about. So not this article, I've seen other articles say, hey, how are you? Or, hey, did you go on a nice vacation recently? It's the pandemic, y'all. What do you like to do with your free time? To me, this seems forced and unnatural. Like, so imagine I start my script. Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm from Delta CX, and thanks so much for being a part of our research sessions. We'll be together about 60 minutes today. This is being recorded, and can you just confirm, please, that you've agreed to record? Say yes, thank you. Today we're going to cover a few topics. I then have a few tasks for you to try with your screen shared, and then we'll have some questions at the end. You can stop this session at any time if you are concerned or need a break, and blah, 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 blah. All right, do you have any questions? No, I don't have any questions. Okay, super. Let's just jump in. So, that's it. Now that being said, so I will start in with my questions. However, build a bond or relatable moment. If something naturally comes up where I have something in common with that person, normally related to where they're located, I will mention it. So for example, I interviewed a woman in Newton, Massachusetts. And I went to university in Boston, Massachusetts. So I said, you're in Newton, right? And she said, yes. And I said, the Green Line, which is the public transportation system. She's like, oh, you know Newton. So and now, of course, I didn't say, what do you like to do with your free time? What hobbies do you like? Do you have a tattoo? I just found a connection point because I knew something about something in her world. Sometimes I speak to people who are near where I grew up. So I will say, hey, 631 area code, blah, blah, blah. I grew up not far from there. Oh, yeah, where'd you grow up? Oh, I grew up in Massapequa. Yeah, Mountain Center, Moriches. Hey, that's cool. Now, I do say, hey, that's cool, because I'm not looking to go any further than that in the conversation. I am not looking to start talking about Center, Moriches, or Massapequa. Let's see what some of the comments are coming in. I10 says, I was taught at grad school we should do it, and I do it now because it happens naturally, but I don't know which one is right. Ray says, same here. I usually only ask, hey, how are you? How's the weather? Ray says, weather is generic and usually doesn't hurt anyone's feelings and gets people talking a tad. I do like that one. Yes, even if the weather is bad, it's always temporarily bad. Unless you want to Google first and make sure they're not having a, hurricane. I did have someone cancel an interview once because of hurricane. FN says, is this website a good source of UX and CX content? So far, no, but I've only seen a few of their articles that people send during this show. Elena says, participants know they're there to participate in a formal study. We do a brief intro, one welcome question, but I don't detour into anything like this. Elvina says, I do ask some warm-up questions, but they're usually related to a topic. Yeah. So again, if I can find a connection moment with someone, that feels natural and doesn't feel forced, I will do it. If they mention a family member's name, I'll say that name back to them. How is Tom today? They'll be like, Tom, turn off the TV. I'll be like, what's Tom watching? So I'll try to do something a little bit to get people to smile. But I think in general, what I've noticed throughout my 8 zillion years alive and over 10 years of doing UX research, that I don't have to do much to get everybody to tell me their secrets. Y'all tell me yours. I didn't have to ask you what hobbies you have. Y'all just trust me. And I like that. And I appreciate that. And I'm grateful for that. Y'all know I can be trusted. You tell me your stuff. The people I meet have a sense that they can trust me. I do go in with smiley eyes and a little smile, higher voice acting, character. And I just try to make it pleasant. If something really wacky happens during the session, I might try to turn it into something fun, very briefly, but I don't want it to be distracting. Kedron says, UX research is a bit more transactional than innovation research. Most of my research projects range from 4 to 6 hours per participant, but we're not diving into software. Okay. Aitan says, I usually get awkward when I have handsome participants. Haha. Yeah, that gets a lot better when you find the right person. Now that I've got Pier Mario, nobody looks that good. Handsome is external. So I would have to say I don't notice that so much anymore. Aitan says, I want to swipe right on Tinder. Yeah, be careful of that, because you end up distracting yourself, and then you just don't do as good a research job as you could. So I would say I am that weird person who does not do this, even though it is recommended by pretty much everybody. And I have to tell you, I am also a participant in some user research studies. And the ones that I thought were the best didn't do that with me. Now, that could just be my style. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just saying, to me, it seems a little bit forced. And it seems like, hey, we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends. And now I have to ask you these business questions. So it just seems a little bit forced and weird to me. Jatin says, I am late. No, never too late. You can always watch back. So with our remaining time, and everybody get your emojis ready, some person sent me a Jared Spool article. And Faye says, I think it's because it lacks authenticity. Yeah, remember, we've all been told to do it. Very forced and unnatural, says Command. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I like what Ray said. Sometimes we do talk about the weather. But yeah, especially with all the things that are going on in the world, things happening in people's lives, I don't want to ask them, hey, have you gone on a nice trip lately? Hey, what's your hobbies? Staying alive. That's my hobby. Okay, let's talk about your best friend and mine, Jared Spool. So this is an interesting article, and this is why I want to spend some time on it. It's called Why I Can't Convince Executives to Invest in UX and Neither Can You. Now, of course, if this article is true, then I'm not too sure why Jared's still in business. Because if he can't convince executives to invest in UX and nobody can, what's he doing? What are all of his webinars about? Retire. You can go now. We don't need you. Bye. So let's talk about what this says. And I don't know if he's got dates on these. That's one weird thing about his stuff. Okay, here it is, 2011. So this is an oldie. 2011 is not recent. This article is almost 11 years old. So he says, hey, somebody wants me to stand in front of executives and show presentation, and then they're going to just fall in love with UX and go for it. And I'm frequently asked to convince executives to invest in user experience, and I refuse. We only take on work we can guarantee results from. I know from experience I have no chance in hell to convince any executives of anything, so I decline. I've been pitching our services for 23 years, and I've never successfully convinced an executive of anything. So again, if this is true for Jared, I'm not sure what he's doing, and I'm not sure why we're listening to him. Just critical thinking, y'all. Command says, such a weird title. If it's clickbait, it's poor practice. If it isn't, I'm shocked he still gets any clients. Exactly. Command design is in my head. And Jared relates this to smoking. Have you ever met a smoker? Have you ever met a smoker who didn't know the harmful effects? Every smoker I know, but they still smoke. You can't stop someone from smoking. That's how he ties this together. And you can find out what your execs already believe, and it'll be revenues and reducing costs and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Maybe you should just go work someplace else, and there are plenty of opportunities on the market. So let's talk about this. And so let's talk about this. First of all, what do you think about this? I'll tell you what I think about this. And I think everyone's going to be pretty surprised to hear what I have to say. So I started doing a lot of conference speaking in 2018. And I really ramped it up in 2019. 2018, I did 100,000 miles. 2019, I did 100,000 miles. I think I spoke at over 50 events each year, mostly engineering conferences. a few UX conferences, and that's where I first met Jared in early 2019 at the IA conference, which was held on site at the time. And I was premiering my new talk, Stop Evangelizing UX, which of course people have heard, and it has evolved over time. And now it's kind of evolved into transforming toward customer centricity. Yeah, Elvina says, what is the purpose of the article? I don't know. To hope to get some business? To hope that you're going to hire him? What's good UX? What's this? This is related to a business value article. I don't know. To talk you out of hiring him? I honestly don't know. And in one of my early talks, someone had sent me this article and was like, I don't know why you're out there trying to change people's opinions about UX. Even Jared Spool says nobody can convince people to invest in UX. Nobody. And my thought was, I'm going to prove him wrong. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make change. And I'll make change from the top down. I'll make change from the bottom up. But I'm going to help people with this in small and large ways. So I wrote, Stop Evangelizing. Command says, I think that's dumb. Saying you should find executives that are already convinced pretty much cancels a lot of companies and businesses. Faye says, it's such a short article too. I'm happy you dislike Jared Spool too. When I first got into UX, I felt uneasy about the hysteria for this man at his point of view. Yeah. And Faye says, should anyone talk in absolutes anyway? Yeah, I mean, he should be proud of this. Screenshot it. Jared Spool cannot convince people to invest in UX. So I did Stop Evangelizing in, I guess, March of 2019. Jared came to the talk. I'd never met him before. I'd only heard, as Faye says, the hysteria, the hype. He was this amazing guru. Oh my God, he's this guy. He's just been alive forever and he's the thing. So I was like, wow, Jared Spool is listening to my talk right now. This is weird. But I was watching him and the lights were on in the room. It was not a dark room, which was also weird, but the lights were on in the room and he's in the back of the room doing this. Now, of course, most people who are on their phones at conferences put them in their lap and do it in a more subtle way. So I'm like, this guy wants me to see that he's on his phone. I wonder what, and I'm talking, I'm doing my whole show and it's going really well. And I'm like, what's his message to me? What is that? I'm working on more important things than listening to you right now. What is this? I heard so many things about this guy. What is he doing right now? What is this supposed to be? So after the talk, couple hours later, I ran into him in the hall and I said, hi, thanks for coming. Now remember, I've never met him before. Hi, thanks for coming to my talk. And he goes exactly like this. And if anyone has ever heard Spool talk, I hope this is a decent enough impression. But I'm not sure I can do the dead, soulless face the way that he does it so well. But he looked at me and he goes, your talk was fascinating. And I said, oh, shit's on. Okay. I said, well, I only did it to prove that you were wrong. I said, someone gave me your article about how you can't convince anybody to invest in UX. So I've been working on a whole bunch of talks and programs to prove you wrong. And he goes, how's it going? I said, pretty well so far. And he walked away. That is the only time I've ever talked to Jared Spool, other than the series of completely private emails we shared when he tried to steal one of my trademarks. So Festus says maybe he was taking notes on the phone. Well, considering he later stole some of what was in that presentation, recording it, screenshotting it, making some notes. Dear Leslie, write something about this. I don't know. Kayleen likes my stories. I'm glad Kayleen is here. Faye says, I found a lot of the UX celebrities like Jared to be nauseating and they're just hungry for money and clout. It was so weird to see this in a professional setting. It almost made me think. All the communities like this, yeah. Charlene says, I have to see that presentation of his. Yeah, so this was the article that sparked me to prove him wrong. And part of why we're here today, because I've decided I'm going to keep proving him wrong. Every time someone writes to me and says, I did something great at work today because of something I learned from your YouTube channel. That's it. It's all worth it. When someone says, I convinced my boss today to let us do more research than we planned. That's it. It's all worth it. And now my current job, which I'm enjoying, which I'm 2 months in on, is being a consultant at a 4,000 person, $1 billion company to help them transition towards customer centricity. Jared can't convince executives. I sure hope I can, because I've been given the chance to do it. He's been given the chance to do it, and he can't do it. I want to see if I can do it. Then I'll write a nice follow-up article. Why I can convince executives to invest in UX and Jared Spool can't. I don't know. That just sounds bitter, of course. But yeah, so I'm happy to put this up on the screen because I agree with him. Jared Spool can't convince executives to invest in UX, especially because if you pay attention to his material, he plays both sides of every fence. Agile should change for UX. No, that's wrong. Agile shouldn't change for UX. UX should change for Agile. No, that's wrong. Agile is good the way it is. UX should change for Agile. We should invest in metrics and ROI, metrics. Next webinar, metrics aren't really going to be what we need. Don't look at this metric, look at this metric. I can see why people follow him. He probably leaves them wondering what the heck is even true. It's like constant gaslighting. So, still dislike Jared Spool. I still completely am frustrated by him stealing from me, which is still happening. I think there, it does not cause any physical pain to say, Debbie Levitt said this and I agree with her. If I could find something Jared said that I agreed with, I would tell you that. It's just rare. I've seen a few things, but it sure is rare. So Jared Spool can suck it. I just don't like this guy. I also don't like this guy because of stories other people have told me about their dealings with him, and those are rather unsavory. So let's just say that Jared gets -5 dogs out of 5. So that's Reaction Stream. We're lucky. We don't get a lot of Jared's content here on the channel in general. But really, to me, he's not worth the time. And I also recognize that this is the Venn diagram of our communities, because if there were more overlap, people would be so horrified by how much they hear me say and how much he says it 3 months later, or in some cases, 3 years later. So, yeah. So I always hope and pray for more people from his community finding me, because then they're going to be like, uh-oh. Wow, I loved when Jared said that thing. Now I realize Debbie said that thing. I think he can only get away with it because we have a very little community in common. I'll be okay. Sorry. Do not breathe in your juice. That is the wrong way to do it. Ooh. Quick note. Juice does not go in the trachea. Just a helpful tip from me to you. Oh well. Hopefully that was dramatic enough for I-10. Command says, I choke a lot on my drinks. I understand that feeling. Yeah, except you get to have it archived. I get to have it archived on YouTube. Hey, did I mention it's fun to subscribe here on YouTube? As you get to watch me battle life and death. Please, if you enjoy shows like these, tell 3 friends. Tell your coworkers. Tell your manager. And tell everybody. Oh, excuse me. Steph says, stop sending her Jared stuff. See what it does? I'm totally late. Yeah. Do not breathe in your juice, everybody. Juice is for drinking. This is the type of helpful advice you can get here on this channel. Meaningful, actionable, and helpful. Juice is for drinking. Please don't inhale it. Okay. Hi, how are you? My hair is crazy today. All right, so let's talk about what's coming up on the show, because all of my deadlines are finally done next Wednesday, and we're going to get back into having more shows. Command says, interestingly, I've been on Jared's mailing list a long time, and it just made me uneasy, and I stopped reading it before I even knew something was wrong with his content. Yeah, so actually, I'm on his mailing list, and I don't follow it very much, but I do get the emails about like his new webinars and courses. And almost always there's something there where I'm like, wow, I bet if I watched this, it would seem extremely familiar, but I'm not going to do that to myself. Sirocco says juice is good. Yes, I mixed blood orange juice with blueberry juice and some water and added extra vitamin C. Elvina says, Debbie, do you review portfolios? I do. Where is my old links? I used to have links. Oh, yeah, hold on. I've got a link I can put up. Okay, deltacx.com/links will lead you to everything that you could possibly ask about. The show's schedule. Do I review portfolios? Do I do coaching? How do you send stuff in? It's all there at deltacx.com/links. So jump on over. I review portfolios on the weekends. I think this weekend is already filled up. There might be room next weekend for the portfolio, so hopefully it is not time sensitive. Yeah, Sirocco, it's pretty good. The blueberry juice here is 40% blueberry juice, so it's pretty blueberry-y. Yes, hearts back to you, Elvina. Give it, send it over. I offer everybody 1 portfolio review for free. If you want a second, I do charge $50 American for that. But of course, you can just take the 1 and stop. It is a bit of tough love. Some people are happy with my reviews because I'm saying some things no one else did. Some people are not happy with my reviews because they were hoping to hear something better. So just a heads up there. That didn't work. I'm trying to, there we go. Turning off the heat. Smart home, smart home. Not sponsored, smart home. Okay, still not totally recovered. But anyway, let's talk about what's coming up on the show next week, because after my deadlines are passed, woohoo, more shows. Monday, Think Out Loud. We've got a new project. So Think Out Loud is going to be starting up again with a brand new project. Come on down and watch me plan research and do real design live and explaining what I do as I do it so that I can help teach you how I approach design. Elvina says, well, handling criticism is one of the skills designers need to have. I agree. Tuesday the 1st. Oh my gosh, March 1st already, everybody. Tuesday the 1st will not be office hours. Office hours are canceled next week because I am doing a 4-hour workshop at the Interaction 22 conference. There are still tickets available for that. If you are interested, you can just go to the Interaction 22 website. Make sure you go to the workshop ticket page and buy a seat to my ticket. Buy a ticket to my... Anyway, buy a ticket. Wednesday the 2nd, Larry Marine will be here doing a new micro lesson. He sent me a PowerPoint. I've got to check it out. He's calling it Designing Backwards. So we'll have a new micro lesson with Larry on Wednesday, March 2nd. Hopefully the 3rd, I need to check with Steph and Ben. Hopefully the 3rd, we are still on for the rescheduled 2022 Trends and Predictions articles. Friday the 4th, reaction stream. Let's see, March 7th, more Think Out Loud. March 8th, I've also canceled office hours. We're going to miss office hours a couple of weeks. I'm so sorry. I'm speaking at a meetup. Oh, good. Steph says, I'm ready and I'm on fire. Well, hopefully Ben will join us. Otherwise, it might just be you and me. Wednesday the 9th, we have a super special show. It's going to be Darren, just Darren and me. And Darren's going to talk about how to evaluate UX educational resources. And you know, I have a few opinions on that too. Friday the 11th, reaction stream. Monday the 14th, Think Out Loud. Tuesday the 15th, double office hours. Tuesday the 15th is double office hours and with Darren and Dr. Nick in the evening. Friday reaction stream. Yeah, and then I'm still planning late March. So lots of shows coming up, starting to schedule more stuff. Sparks are going to fly. Yeah, I think Darren and I are going to definitely be pooping on some of the bad education that's out there and giving you some tips on what you're looking for. Remember to drink your juice, y'all. What is this? AOB. Wonder what this is. Anyway, how are you? Kayleen, I'm feeling better. Thanks. I hope everybody is feeling well. So I guess I will wrap this up. Thanks for hanging out for Reaction Stream. We ran a little late, but it was good to talk more in depth about some of the articles that were sent in. So I'm going to play us out of here, but everybody have a safe and healthy weekend. Please play it safe. And I'll see everybody Monday for the next installment of Think Out Loud with a whole new project. Bye. Be well. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are